Hi everyone, I'm going to show you what to make with the things in your Inspire and Create pack this week. So I'll take you through everything that's in your pack and how you can make it. I'll give you a quick guide. So I'm just going to move the screen down so you can see the desk in front of me, because that's what you need to see. And then we'll get started. So this week's pack has been called Inspire and Create, and we've been looking at the work of other artists and other things that we like. And so we've come up with a series of activities that are based on some of the works by other artists, and we'll tell you a little bit about that as we go through. So the first thing we're going to start with is a Klimt cat. Now, Klimt was an Austrian painter who really loved cats. But instead of painting a cat, we decided that actually it'd be quite fun to create a cat. And this is quite a funky looking cat. So we're going to create a Klimt cat. In your pack, you will have received a set of cat making items. Now, they will be on different various shades of yellow and orange, but it doesn't matter. You've got those pieces. This is quite a fiddly little cat to make, so what I recommend is, with your tape that you need to put this together, is that you get some pieces off ready, so that when you are holding various bits of your cat in place, you don't have to worry about trying to get the sellotape. So you need two quite long lengths of these, so I'm just cutting them off and hanging them on the side of my table, and I've lost the end, so just give me a minute to find the end. Where's the end of my tape gone? There it is. So two long pieces. I'm just going to put on the edge of my table so that that's a bit helpful. And I'm going to hang the tape on the edge of my table so I don't lose the end again. So I'm going to take the half circle, so that's a semicircle, and we're going to fold it into a cone shape. So you do that just by bending it round and just making it a little bit tight, so you've got a little hole at the top, but then it looks like a cone that you bend it round. So while you're holding the bottom, you need to get a bit of your tape and put it over the part where they join and press it down, and then I'll take the other bit up into the inside so that it's super secure. So once I've flattened all that tape down, my cone will stand up like so. What I did do was decorate the cone first. So you've got a little bag of sequins and sparkly bits that you could open. There's lots of lovely coloured buttons and all sorts in this bag. If you open up your bag, you can lay them out and you can see what lovely things you've got. So you've got lots of lovely little circles and sparkly bits that you can stick on. So using your glue, you can just stick these all over the body of your cat. Now, I'm not going to do all of that now, but you get the idea. So stick lots of sequins and sparkly bits, and you can even use some pens to put some spots on and some squiggles on and decorate all of your bottom part of your cat. And I'll show you how to make the top part. So the top part is pretty much the same, really, using this piece of paper, and you are just going to very slightly bend it so both ends meet. Don't squeeze it tight so that you've got a crease, because you want this to be quite round, but it will just make putting it together easy. So I put those two ends together, get my next bit of tape, and I'm going to put it down the length and then on the other side so that it closes it off like that, and then I can squeeze it into a bit more of a round cone shape. I want to take those bits of sellotape off at the end. I'll just give them a snip with the scissors. So that's the top of my cat. That's my cat's head. You've got two ears in your pack. So a good thing to do to get these to stick is just to bend a little bit of the ear over. And again, on the other one, bend a little bit of the ear over. And this just helps them to stick to the head of your cat. So you need to put a little bit of glue on the bottom side. So my ears are going to sit on like that, so I'm putting glue on this edge. So just run a little bit of glue along that edge. And then keep the bit that you sellotaped at the back, and you're going to put your ears wherever you like them onto your cat. So that's my first ear. And I'm going to do the same with my second ear. I'm going to put that on as well. So you can see, I press them down. I've got 2 ears on my cat. Just move them around a little bit to make sure they're even and in the right places. So there's my cat. So I've got a body of a cat, and put the screen up just a little bit so you can see everything in one piece. And then I've got a head of my cat. The way you connect them together is just with sellotape. You might take a few pieces to make sure that it holds. Let's snip a bit off. And keep that on the table. So where your top of your cone is, you can give that a little squeeze, and you're going to attach it to the bit where the sellotape is on your head. So you're just going to put it in the middle, hold them down. You see that? And pop a bit of tape along the back, so that when your cat stands up, he's in one piece. Now, if your head gets a bit wobbly, you can put an extra piece of tape in, but that should be enough to hold your cat. So you can stick it together once you've put all your sparkly bits onto the body of your cat. And then with this cat, I have put some colours in his ears, and then I've drawn on some whiskers, a face and some eyes. So you can be as creative as you want with this cat and make him really funky, with some lovely colours and some lovely sparkly bits on. And you can see that I've put some buttons on and maybe drawn a few squiggles and things on. So you can be really creative and make a really funky cat. So all you had to do with that was make the cone with your half piece of paper and sellotape it down the side. Again, roll the other piece of paper over and secure it with sellotape along the back. Make your ears by bending just a little tab over and sticking them onto the head, and then connecting the 2 bits together with sellotape. And there's your cat. So you can decorate your Klimt cat as lovely as you want to. So put him to one side. So the next thing we're going to do is called a Kadinsky tree collage. Now, this Kadinsky was a Russian painter who really liked abstract paintings. So this is based on his style. So this is a tree picture that we're doing, a tree collage that is based on the Kadinsky style. It's a bit of a mouthful to say, isn't it? So in your pack, you have you've got a blue piece of card with a white, with a green piece attached. You have a tree on a white piece of paper, and then you have a yellow piece of card and a piece of paper and a red piece of paper. So the way we do this tree, first thing you need to do is to detach your green piece of paper, and you're going to cut this into a grass shape. So you'll see that we're going to cut it this way so that this width is the same as this width. If you cut it that way, it doesn't quite fit. So you want to use it the same way as the piece of paper in front of you. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a kind of hill grass shape using this green piece of paper, like that. So nothing fancy, just kind of a hilly, grassy piece of paper. Cut in your green card, and then I'm going to put some glue all over the back of it. So be generous with the glue because you want it to stick. Put lots of glue all over it. And then you can press it down like so. Making sure that you get the edges to the edges. You can see now that that looks like some grass and a sky. That's what I've got in my picture. The next thing you need to do is take your tree and cut it out. Now this is can be a bit of a fiddly cut. If you're a confident cutter, then give it a go. But if you're not, you can ask for a bit of help with the tree, and you cut it out. And I've done it already, so you don't have to watch me do that. And there's my tree. So you're going to put some glue on the back of your tree, hold it down. And then you can stick it onto your piece of paper. Now you can stick it where you like to. Try and get it kind of a little bit middle-ish so that you've got enough space to put all of your decorations on. So stick that down, your tree is stuck. So you can see that in the finished picture, you've got your grass, you've got your tree, and you've also got the sky. The next thing to do is take your yellow and red pieces of paper. Now, before I started work with these, I cut them down into smaller sizes because they can be quite hard to cut small shapes out of big pieces of paper. So I cut them in half. I used half a piece at a time. So the trick here is to cut circular shapes out. So you'll see that this picture is made up of different shaped circles, different size circles. So I've cut big circles, and then I've got smaller and smaller and layered them on top of each other in a kind of a really nice effect. So I've just used a combination of the red and yellow, cut different size circles and layered them up. So I'll show you an example. And you don't have to be, you don't have to draw around something that's a circle to make sure that you get a perfect circle. This is about being abstract. So you can just freehand cut a circle. And that's exactly how the picture's supposed to look. So that's quite good. So you see I've just cut a circle kind of shape, and I'm going to put some glue on the back. And I'm going to choose which tree branch I want to put it on. I'm going to put it on this one when I press it down. And then I'm going to take my yellow piece of paper. And I'm going to cut a smaller circle out of yellow paper. I'm just going to check it fits. If it was a bit too big, I could cut it down a little bit more. And then I'm going to put some glue on the back of that. I'm going to press it down on top. And then I'm going to cut another red circle on top of that. And if you wanted to, you could keep going and cut loads and loads of layers of different coloured circles. I would imagine that effect would look really good. So again, I've checked that it fits. And then I'm going to put a bit more glue on this one. And I'm going to stick it down onto my tree. So I'm going to do that on each of the branches of my tree and take it in turns with the yellow and red paper and stick different size circles and different amounts of layers onto my tree. And then afterwards, you can see that I made a flower, and I just used a button, or you could use a sequin and stick that on and draw a flower around it. And then I cut a butterfly and added some sparkly shapes to that. And then I popped some buttons, or you can have a look what you've got in your little bag of goodies, whether you've got buttons or sequins, and you can stick all sorts just to give your collage a bit more detail. Now, the butterfly, I just cut that out of paper. So the way I did that was just cut a smaller piece of this off. Folded this piece of paper in half, and then I cut a butterfly, so just one side of the butterfly shape. So I just cut a small wing, and then a bigger wing, and then when I open the butterfly up, you can see that I've got my butterfly shape. And I can stick it on and add some antennae and some decorations on that. So that's your Kadinsky tree. So again, be as creative and as colourful as you want. Really layer up your branches on your trees. It'd be good to see lots of layers of colour, but it looks really funky. I really like this tree. It's a really good eye-catching piece of artwork. So that's your Kadinsky tree. So let's move all of that out of the way. So we've got a bit of space left to do the other things that we have. So the next thing wasn't necessarily based on an artist, but it's an elephant that lots of people will recognise as Alma the elephant from a book by David McGee. And Alma was the elephant that you created for a story. So we thought, actually, that's a really lovely, colourful elephant, and it would be really good fun to make one of those. So in your pack, you've got an elephant shape, and you've got a whole strip of different coloured paper. So you take the paper clip off, and you get your pieces of paper so they're all in line. So you've got the edges all in line, because we're going to cut them all in one go, because it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker for us to do the cutting on this. So take your scissors, and you're just going to cut through all of the pieces of paper at once, and you're just going to cut them into squares. So you do that all the way up the piece of paper. Try and get them in kind of equal size squares. So keep cutting all the way up the strip of paper. And I get a little bit left over at the end, but it doesn't matter. There you go, you've got lots of different colour pieces of paper. So the way that you decorate Alma is you simply get your glue, and you put some glue in the area you're going to start. And then you place your squares of paper onto Alma. Now you can see that I'm not worried if I'm going over the edges, because I can cut them all off afterwards. And you can see there might be a few little gaps, but again, I can cut small pieces of paper or even colour them in afterwards if I want to do those. So if I want to fill those two gaps in, I can take the small bits of paper that were left when I cut all my squares, and I can just put those in to fill the gaps, like so. So keep doing that. So put some glue on, and then put your squares of paper on top of the glue, and it's almost in like a patchwork style. Put enough glue on there, so put a bit more glue there. And you can see that what you're doing is make another use of one of my smaller bits there. So you're putting all these colours together in a patchwork style. Now I haven't left any gaps on mine. If you wanted to leave gaps in between your colours, you could. You can do this however you like. So you just keep doing this all over your elephant. Let's do a couple more, and then that's good. So once you've covered your whole elephant, and there'll be enough of the coloured pieces of paper to cover your whole elephant, if you find that you've gone over the edges, which you will do, you can turn your elephant over, and you can just use your scissors to cut the excess off. So if you cut around the very edge of your elephant and you're really careful, you can cut all of the bits that you've stuck over the edges off. Now again, if you're a confident cutter, give this a go. But if you're not and you need some help, then get somebody to give you a bit of a hand with this, because the corners can be a bit fiddly. And I'm going to do the same to the top. So I'm just going to cut off all the excess bits that are hanging over the edges. You can see that. And take all these off. Oh, I don't want to do that. It can be quite fiddly, but you might need a smaller pair of scissors. These scissors are quite big. You get the idea anyway. So you can see that I've cut all the edges off of the elephants. Press them down. So once you've created a patchwork elephant and you've stuck all of your squares of paper all over him, your elephant will look something like this. Now I didn't fill all the gaps in on this one in my example, but if you want to fill in the gaps, then you can. Then I just got lots of my circles and buttons out of my sequin pack, and I put some glue on them, and I stuck them into the different squares. You don't have to do that. Elmo didn't have those stuck on him, but we thought it was an extra way of giving your elephant some decoration and making him look quite funky. Making it look quite good with all the different coloured buttons and sequins that stuck on him. So there's your Elmo elephant. So I'll put those to one side, So have fun doing that elephant. You can make a really cool, colourful patchwork elephant there. Next, we're going to move on to our African mask. So this is an African style of art. And this is our African style mask. So it's made out of blocks of colour, so lots of big blocks of colour. We like our colourful masks. And so what you've got in your pack is a mask shape. And some pieces of paper. And you do have some lips. So I'm just going to go and grab a pair of lips. So just wait there, I forgot to put them in. Bear with me. I can't seem to find any, so I'll cut some, so that's fine, no problem. So you do have a set of lips in your pack, so I'm just going to cut myself. Obviously, I forgot to put a set in with mine, so I'm just going to cut a set of lips now. See if I can cut them as good as the ones that you've got in your pack. Oh, that's not bad, I've not done a bad job there. So you've got a set of lips in your pack to stick on your mask. Now it's up to you if you want to put them on as one whole piece or whether you want to cut them in half, so you've got a little gap between them. I did that on mine, so I'm just going to cut those in half and stick them on to my mask, like so. Let me just do that, put a bit of glue on. And then a little bit on the top bit. So there we go. I used a lolly stick for my nose, and you've got some different lolly sticks in your pack, different colours. So I think I'm going to use a yellow lolly stick to put down the centre of my mask. So again, just put some glue on the back of that. Rub it off the edges, and you can stick that down the centre of your mask. Now you can be as creative as you want to with this mask. You don't have to do it in the way that I'm showing you on the video. You can be really creative and make whatever style you want to. I'm just giving you a little bit of idea, just in case you're stuck, and just to get you started. So with the eyebrows, let's use some orange for some eyebrows. You can get the kind of piece of paper that you want. Now, a really good trick to make sure that you get symmetrical looking shapes for your mask is to fold your piece of paper in half. You don't have to use all of it, so I'm going to fold it in half and then cut some off. I'm going to use the bit that's still got the fold in it to cut my eyebrow shapes. And so I'm just going to cut an eyebrow shape to this piece of paper. So let me give it a bit of a curve on my eyebrow shape. Let's see what that does. So when I pull them apart, I've got two shapes that are exactly the same, you see? And so that makes them symmetrical. So I've got two eyebrow shapes that are exactly the same. So you can stick your eyebrows down. Just put a bit of glue on the back. And there's my eyebrows. So use the colour pieces of paper to keep cutting different shapes out that you'd like to stick on your mask. So I did the same with my eyes. So I cut two eyes at the same time to make sure they were both symmetrical. So let's use some yellow for some eyes. And again, cut the two bits off just in case I want those for anything else. And then I'm going to cut some eye shapes out with my piece of paper, making sure I keep them together so that I'm getting the same shape. There we go. So there are my eye shapes. So I'm going to glue my eye shapes down. There we go. So you can see that you can stick as many things as you want to onto this mask. Again, lots of sequin things that you've got on buttons that you've got in your pack that you can add to it. You've also got some feathers. The way I stuck those on was to turn my mask over, and I stuck them on the back using the sellotape. So you can stick those on how you like. So I'll just stick them down quickly now, so when we turn it over you can see. So they are just stuck with sellotape. They're just little bits of sellotape on each feather. And a smaller piece of tape. And then that one as well. You don't have to stick these at the top, you could stick them wherever you like on your mask, but you can see that when I turn it over, I've got some feathers at the top of my mask. Now the eyes, this is the last bit I'll show you on this before I leave you to decorate it. The eyes I've made with pipe cleaners. So the way I did that, you've got a pipe cleaner in your pack and I just chopped it in half. So I bent it over in half and then just cut it. And then I bent it around my finger to start with, and then I rolled it up like a snail. I don't know if you've ever made a snail shape before, but I rolled it up. So I just rolled it around itself into a spiral shape. And then you've got a spiral shape that you can put onto your eye. So again, I started off by bending it around my finger and then slip it off. And I just follow that circle around, bending the pipe cleaner round in that shape. So it makes a spiral. Now I couldn't get these to stick using glue, and pipe cleaners are just too heavy. So the way I stuck these on is I've got some sellotape, and I've lost my end again. So it wasn't very sensible then, I didn't stick it on the end of the table, there it is. Take some tape, and I folded it over on itself, like this. So just folded it over into a big blob of tape, and then I stuck it on the back of the pipe cleaner and then onto the eye. And that means it'll stick down, it acts like double-sided tape. So you can do that for each eye, and that'll help that to stick down. You can see, like in this example, I've cut some coloured pieces of paper to stick them in at the top, and another piece down the bottom, and then stuck the sequin on. So you can be as creative and put as many shapes and sparkly bits and anything you want to do with this mask to make this really funky African mask that has got strong shapes and strong colours in it, and it will look really good. So there's your mask. Let's put those to one side. The final thing you've got in your pack is something called a Marauder Heart. Now this shape and this style is inspired by a Dutch painter called Mondrian. So he liked this style of design with the thick black lines in between each of the colours. So what I've done here is just used four colours, red, yellow, orange, blue, so 4 colours, and we've just coloured in the different parts of the heart in different colours. So you can see, just colouring this part in red, and I'm not going to do it all. So you can colour each part of the heart in different colours. I'm not going to colour the whole section, but just used 4 colours and then left one section white to colour in this heart. And it creates a really nice effect with the straight lines and the different colours. They're a really good contrast. So if you colour in your heart, like I've done in the example, in these nice bold, strong colours, then what you need to do is, very unorganised today, leaving everything all over the place. You've got a cardboard heart in your pack as well. So when you finish colouring that in, you need to cut your heart out and stick it onto this heart shape. So they're just exactly the same size. If you do find that it's a little bit over, just cut the edges off, but they are the same size. So colour in your heart, cut it out, stick it onto your heart piece of card, and then we've popped a lolly stick on the back of ours so that you can stand it up if you want to, but you don't have to do that. We've just put it on so you can stand it up. And if you wanted to give your heart a little bit of extra colour, then you could again use your sequin pack and stick some different colours and things on it to make it look a bit funky. So that's your pack. So by the end of this session, you will have made your Klimt cat. And I'll just put the screen up so you can see. The cat's always a bit bigger. So you will have made your Klimt cat. You will have made your Kadinsky tree collage. You will have made your Elmer elephant, your African mask, and finally your Marauder Heart. So lots in this pack to keep you super busy, lots of things to get on with and keep you creative and using your imagination. So we hope you've enjoyed making all of the things in your pack. We'd really love to see your finished creations. So if you've got some photos and things you can send us, upload them to the Ventures Facebook page, that would be really good. And if you have any questions or you find that something's missing from your pack, then let us know and we can get that to you. But we really hope that you enjoyed making what's in your pack and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.